What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. Now, today we have the honor and privilege of being joined by DJ Linx. Thank you for coming through, sir.
Man, it's a privilege to be here with you, Soren. Thank you.
Yes, yes. So Linx and I are connected on many ways. Now we are connected through the Chris Thomas radio show, KSHP in Las Vegas. You can catch us
Mhm.
on Wednesdays and Thursdays there. And then the syndication is being expanded thanks to Chris Thomas and his pool, among the other things we got going on. So
Big
Links,
homie.
I've got Chris Thomas. Check out my links there if you haven't watched it yet.
Mhm.
Interview
Mhm.
from, the mayor of Rap City, the first host. So how you obviously hosted Rap City, how, when, and why did you get connected with Chris Thomas, Mad Links?
Griff and I originally got connected way back in I want to say when we did the Rap City finale, but what we got a chance to connect was during the taping of I'm sorry, not the taping of the process of the documentary Welcome to Rap City that gave a very comprehensive three-part story of the history of Rap City. And first and foremost, most ultimate props to Chris Thomas, the original host, the original mayor, and as far as I'm concerned, still the mayor of Rap City, one of the most amazing human beings you'll ever get the chance to meet. Somebody who was entirely selfless and nothing but love and a great spirit in his heart. And we connected there. It was a great time during the BET Hip Hop Awards where they brought in all the hosts. From Chris to Prime, rest in peace, Prince Dejour, Big Lex, who you've interviewed, Tigger, Joe Claire, myself, Q45. They had us all there, and it was an amazing opportunity for all of us to just to get together because it never happened before. We're talking about a show that has spanned almost 2 decades, and the fact that we were all there in the same place was just really amazing. And shouts out to BET, who has not always done everything great, but shouts out to them for having the wherewithal and the ability to empower the people who knew that there was a very important story to tell and then gave them the opportunity to tell it. So yeah, just big shouts out to everybody who was a part of that. And to your question, Chris and I got a chance to really connect from that road over with Mama James. That's what I call her, at least, in Bron James' mom and her family, and she really made sure that we all got there in style with police support and whatnot. So that's when I said he's the mayor of Rap City, and the great thing about Rap City, there are no borders. So basically, wherever Chris is at, he's the man. He got the key.
That's for sure. He's an amazing guy, and it's been great getting to know him over the last several
Mhm.
years. And shout out to Tony Medley for the initial introduction and for making that happen as well. And with Chris and all the different personalities that have been on Rap City, why do you
Mhm.
think that this show was able to sustain, maintain, and thrive for decades?
You know, time has moved on so fast that sometimes it's hard to really remember how different things were in a period that wasn't so far removed. So before everybody had a device and everybody was living on this and saying, "Hey, everything that I'm doing is right here," and the ability to have absolutely everything at your fingertips, you had to get things where they were. And at that time, when Chris came on in particular, hip hop was not prevalent in mass society. It was not part of pop culture yet. It was this subculture that told stories of, sometimes the streets from urban youth, and it was the story of that era. Um, so through that and the ability for record companies who, of course, they just saw dollar signs and said, "Hey, look, this is a new thing, and we're going to be able to take advantage and make profits from it." But hey, listen, we'll do it. And many of our artists were more than willing and able to position themselves in a place to be able to get those stories out, be able to get that music out. And with the advent of music videos in the early 1980s, that elevated the ability for those stories and that music to get out. Again, with hip hop being more of a subculture, and at the time, you only had really a handful of vehicles to be able to get that music out. MTV being the primary one, later followed up by VH1. Obviously, there were regional things happening like Ralph McDaniels, Uncle Ralph, and what he was doing with Video Music Box. You have these little pockets, but what BT had the ability to do, and shouts out to Alvin Jones, who had the foresight to say, "Hey, look, this is something that's coming. We got to pay attention, and now's the time to put it on the airwaves," and did that. So in order to find out what was happening, what the new artists were doing, what music was coming out, you had to get it on one or two places. That was either TV or radio. Not every market had a hip hop radio station. The majority of your larger markets or your large urban populations did, but there are plenty of cities that didn't. So ultimately, TV had to help fill those voids of places that you could not get the music. I mean, there was no internet at a certain point to be able to get that out, and the early versions of the internet were definitely not content music based. So you had to be able to get it from a place like Rap City, and Chris Thomas was the original host, and that really set the stage for the ability for artists to get their music out, to get their message out, for record labels to get the fact that they were promoting and putting these artists out. So from Chris to Prince DeJour to the Big Les, Joe Claire, to Tigger, to me, to Q45, to to all of us that were there. Yeah, I really looked at it like it was a relay race, and each one of us had a leg to run, and thankfully we were all able to do it, and we won the race as far as we could, as long as there was a race going. Now we live in a period of time that everything is available to you again at your fingertips, in the palm of your hand, when you want it. So the landscape has changed, which has made it very difficult for something like Rhapsody to exist today. But for the time that we could do it, man, it was amazing to be a part of it.
Yeah, and to your point, one of the amazing things about Rap City, and of course, UMTV Raps did it as well, but the fact that a lot of growing up in Maryland, right in between Baltimore and DC,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't play a lot of West Coast on the radio there. We didn't hear it. So to be able to watch a video from Compton's Most Wanted or Above the Law and to
Mm-hmm.
see it
Mm-hmm.
in Maryland
Mm-hmm.
because I love that music, that was so remarkable to me, and that helped the reach of those type of artists or the Ghetto Boys or whoever it was at the time to
Right.
not be able to hear them on the radio, but then to be able to see their video gave them a reach. So as you traveled and as you were doing your DJing while you were on Rap City and other things you were doing at the time, what impact
Mm-hmm.
did you notice, especially when you were outside of New York or outside of a major city and you were on the road?
You know, even just as a fan watching it from home, you could tell how important that was, and the fact that people would be racing home to get there in order to find it. See, today, no matter what you want to see, you have the ability to just go. Let's say, like for instance, this interview. One of your fans can watch it on a Thursday at 1 o'clock. Another fan can watch it on a Friday at 3 o'clock, and both of them get everything in its entirety. There was a term called must see TV, and what that meant was you had to be there in real time to see it. And once it was gone, it was gone, and that was it. So there was a huge urgency to be able to get in front of your TV to see it, because you didn't want to miss out on a video premiere. You didn't want to miss out on the new happening with Ice Cube as he was, leaving, and everything that happened with that. You didn't want to miss out on any sort of what was taking place with Eazy-E. You had to be there in real time in order to get it. Because if you missed it, you better hope that you can get somebody on the house phone, not the cell phone, on the house phone, who could give you a rundown and hope they get the story right.
Right.
So understanding how important that was at that period of time. And I came in at an interesting time because that was around the genesis of YouTube. So once YouTube hit, as I was referring to, people really had the opportunity to empower themselves to see what they wanted when they wanted. But of course, the legacy of the show was so strong that I ran a leg in a relay race. So those that came before me and those that empowered them in the network had done such a great job in so many ways that by the time I had the chance to run my leg, we were already there. So being able to get out and represent the brand of Rap City was amazing. I mean, look, I traveled to so many different places, both within the United States and even outside. I want to give a big shout out to a brother of mine, Big Apple, who was he was the prime minister in Canada. He brought me there's in my early on in my Rap City tenure and opened up the entire country of Canada, taking me to Ottawa when we were performing with Snoop and an artist named Belly, who later became part of XO with the Weekend and whatnot, and everything that we did in Toronto. So many parties that we're reflecting on since his passing here recently. So rest in peace, Big Apple. And it is because of Rap City that that avenue and that vehicle opened up an entire nation to me. So big shouts out to Big Apple, big shouts out to his family, Rich Messiah, Mama Apple, and everybody in Canada. No, I'm just reflecting here in a moment because again, he was such a huge figure in not just in Canada, but hip hop as he brought so many artists there. Wu Tang Clan, great relationships with Raekwon, the people from Griselda, and just goes to show how far this thing called hip hop has taken me and taken so many others.